All right, so let's look at these questions. Okay, number one, it says reread page 290 to 291. Why are the Texans fighting against Mexico? Charles, what you got, bud?
Because the Texans don't like the president's new laws.
Okay. Because who is that president?
I forget. I don't.
Come on, go in the book. Find it. What's his name?
His name was
Santa Anna made new harsh laws. All right, and what else? You said he made new laws that they don't like. It's making them give up their what?
Dignity.
Their dignity, their freedom, their rights. And they wanted to do what?
They wanted to stay a part of Texas.
They wanted to be their own independent. So they wanted to not have to follow the law of Santa Anna. All right, review page 292 to 293. Who rushes into the Alamo and why? Gabby?
The group, like the Texans, like the group of people.
Yeah, what are they called? I'm looking for a keyword.
Rebellion.
Nope. Who run into the Alamo for safety? The
Texans?
Not the Texans. I mean, they are the Texans, but there's a different word for them I want to hear.
The citizens.
Not the citizens,
Priests.
the townspeople. And why did they go into the Alamo? Because it's safe there. And why were they running into it? Because they saw what? Santa Anna and his Mexican army marching from the south. They saw hundreds of people marching from the south. What are some of the hardest decisions that the people inside the Alamo have to make?
To go out, like to be and fight, or
To stay and fight or what? Possibly being, leaving your friends and family to fight, and there's a chance that there's survival. If they leave the Alamo, then there's a what? They may what?
get shot.
I mean, yeah, I guess they may get jobs, but survive. They would survive. They wouldn't be killed. Do you think, let me just ask this random question just because I'm just thinking off the top of my head. If we knew what we knew then about the Alamo, meaning we knew that the people that were inside of the Alamo, like Davy Crockett and Mr. Travis, if they knew that everybody that was in the Alamo was going to die, do you think they would still stay there? No, I don't think so either. I mean, but they wanted to stand up for their rights. Thank you.
It's not paying attention.
That's not right. Miss Buffalo. This isn't the right letter. This says that these are conflicts of things. handle that. Right? Okay. Okay, let's move on to today's lesson. All right, we're going to start with I'm going to ask you to complete the sentence with the vocabulary words in it. So it says, if someone surrendered, he blank.
Gave up.
He gave up. Gave up what? Finish my sentence.
And agreed that the other side won.
All right, and agreed that the other side had won. All right, if people form a rebellion, they
Fight for their rights.
They are fighting for their rights. A person who is furious is mad. Not just mad, they are very mad. A tyrant is a person who
A ruler that rule or unreasonable in a cruel way.
rules people in a cruel and unreasonable way. If you do something occasionally, you do it
Once in a while.
only once in a while. If you are in a place that is secure, it makes you feel what? Safe. Protected. Huh? Guarded? Did you say guarded? I mean, I guess I could, but... Alright, I'm going to zoom in on this because I don't feel like getting the other paper out. Alright, so we're looking at synonyms and antonyms today. A synonym is a word that means the same or almost the same as another word. An antonym is a word that is opposite in meaning to another word. To understand vocabulary, you look at the synonym and the antonym of a word. Think about how words are the same or different can help you understand the meaning better. For example, Santa Anna was furious with the Texans. He was angry that they would not obey his law. So is that a synonym or an antonym? It's a synonym. They both mean similar things. Furious and angry are the same. Number 2, Santa Anna was a tyrant. He was not a kind leader who treated his people fairly. Synonym. All right, let's read the third one, excuse me. The Texans fired their cannons occasionally, as repeatedly firing their weapons would use up all of their ammunition. Antonym, because occasionally means every now and again, and repeatedly means over and over and over again. All right. So synonyms the same, antonyms are different or opposites. So if I said sun, you would what's a synonym of great? Good. What's an antonym of great? Bad. All right, we're going to review the anchor chart central idea, which is number, what's my anchor chart? Anchor chart 17. All right, so reviewing the central idea of a story. Maybe. The central idea is very similar to the what? The main idea of the story. I have a glare today. The central idea is what the text is mostly about. We look for text clues such as headings, visuals, first and last sentences, and repeated words. The central idea is supported by the details. So if you want to tell me about what you got for Christmas, you need to tell me details about, well, if you're talking about Christmas, you need to talk about details about Christmas, okay? Did you make cookies? Did you decorate a Christmas tree? Blah, blah, blah. Put your mask on, please. Do you want me to tie it so it won't fall? There you go, wrap it. It says you evaluate details to determine key ideas that support the central idea. So, like examples, facts, evidence, and a description. So we're going to do a target close read starting on page 291. So everybody turn your book to page 291. All right. We're going to reread paragraphs 5 through 8 and determine the central or main idea that is introduced for this nonfiction narrative. Paragraphs 5 through 8. Here we go. The problem started soon after Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna became president in 1834. After Mexico became free of Spain in 1821, the new leader wrote a constitution. This set of laws protected the rights of people and gave them the right to vote. But Santa Anna thought the Constitution was making Mexico weak. He decided to make laws of his own. Under these harsh laws, citizens had fewer rights. Most Mexicans went along with the new laws without complaining. But many Texans felt differently about Santa Anna's laws. They came from the United States. They were used to having more of a say in their government. The Texans worried that giving up a few rights now could mean losing more before long. Some Texan leaders were so angry that they started a rebellion. They wanted Texas to break free of Mexico and become an independent country. News of the rebellion in Texas made it back to Mexico City. Santa Anna was furious. How dare these rebels try to steal Mexico's land? In late 1835, he sent General Cos to deal with the Texans. The Mexicans and Texans fought many battles, but after this last battle on December 9th, the Mexicans were forced out of Texas. Now, Mexican citizens all around you are making difficult choices. Many Mexican citizens supported Santa Anna. They believe Texas should remain with Mexico. Others are choosing to fight with the Texan rebels. It says, what is the central or main idea of paragraph 5 through 8. What is the central or main idea of paragraph 5 through 8? You can't leave that watch alone. It's going to go in your book bag. I need you to pay attention. Not right now. Gabby?
The idea is them kind of fighting over not so long,
Yeah, they're fighting. Who's fighting? The Texans will fight who? And to try to do what?
Take back the land.
Take back their land and to gain their what? Independence from Mexico. So the supporting details around that is about how they led up to it. So what made them start fighting? Alex, this is your last warning. I asked you to put it up because you're distracting others. So when he made this new constitution, it made the Texans want to fight and go against or rebel against Santa Anna's laws because they wanted to gain their independence from Mexico because they didn't want to have to be controlled by those laws. All right, let's go to page 299. Now, thinking back on that central idea that we just talked about with them deciding to fight against the Mexicans to be able to be free from Mexico, the Texans, we're going to look at some questions. It says, why are some of the hardest decisions that people inside, what are some of the hardest decisions that the people inside of the Alamo have to make? Okay, if they want to leave the Alamo or do what? Stay and fight against great odds. If they were to leave, what that would mean, they would what? They would probably survive. If they were to stay, they probably would have some issues with them staying alive. All right, we're going to review wait, hold on. No, we're not. We're going to pause for a second. All right, go to page 304 in your reading book. 304, please. All right, it says, in the Battle of the Alamo, you learned about the events that took place at the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, in early 1800s. The author explains important ideas about this historical event. Imagine you were at the Alamo during the battle. It says, write a journal entry that tells the events of your day. Include your thoughts and feelings as well as what you're doing. Don't forget to use some of those critical vocabulary words in your writing. So, What are some ideas of the way they spent their day in the Alamo? Give me some ideas of, nobody should be writing, you should all be listening. Come on and sit up. Give me some ideas. What could somebody, if I was a lady and I was in the Alamo, what would I probably be doing? Taking care of the kids. Am I fighting or am I hiding? Hiding, okay? Christopher, if you were in the Alamo, what's some things that a gentleman would do?
Fight.
They would be fighting. They would be trying to protect. All right, so you, it says read aloud plan section. It says summarize the central ideas and important details about the event that took place at the Alamo. So, we already know the important events that took place. The Constitution, then they wanted to fight against the Mexicans, and then they went into the Alamo for safety because they saw Mexicans coming, and then they had to make a decision if they were going to stay and fight or leave and possibly be safe. So, you're going to write your journal entry describing one day of your life at the Alamo. Only one day. Okay? So you can start it with, because remember, this is a first person narrative, meaning I, me, my, and you're going to give me a summary of the events of your day. You're going to draw on text evidence, meaning you can use information from the text to help you to give details into your day. You're going to use sensory words or phrases to describe your experience. If you could smell the fire from the, Jacalas, then that would be a sensory word, you smelling it. And then you're going to end it with a concluding sentence. Yes, sir.
Wait. I have a question. What did we write about? We were writing about.
You were writing, let me see it again. It says, imagine you were at the Alamo during the battle. It says, write a journal entry that tells the events of your day, including your thoughts and feelings and what you are doing.
Can you be in the war or do you have
If
to,
you are in the Alamo, then
or do you have to be in that little building?
I mean, you can be part of, there were people that were protecting, like when they were trying to rebuild up the wall. Yeah, they were shooting cannons from the Alamo. Okay?
That's all I need.
All right, so everybody gonna give me about, a journal entry is between 5 and 8 sentences. It's a paragraph, 5 and 8 sentences. So remember, you're gonna say, if I was in the Alamo, I would be blank. Okay, so you're going to use, if you would like to use a piece of paper, that's fine. If not, you can write it in these boxes below. But everybody, I'm going to give you about 30 minutes to get this journal entry done. And go.
How many minutes?
30.
Do I draw a picture?
No. You're going to write about if you were in the Alamo. What would you be doing? I might want to write one myself. If you want to write it on a piece of paper, you can write it on a piece of paper. Write me some sentences about what you would be doing in the Alamo. Make sure your sentences are complete, meaning they have a capital letter in the beginning, they have a subject, a predicate, and they have punctuation at the end. You being the subject, the predicate being what you were doing. You've written 5 to 8 sentences? 5 to 8 sentences? Okay. Make sure they're complete sentences. Make sure things are spelled correctly. Make sure they make sense. Make sure there's punctuation. Make sure there's punctuation. Never know, I may have y'all write this again and post it up on my board outside. Never know. Absolutely. Joe, did you write 5 sentences? Wonderful. Are they complete sentences? They have capital letters? The I's that stand alone, are they capital? The ones that stand alone. Not ones that are like in a word like bike. Those I's aren't capital. Only if I'm saying like I went to the store. My friend and I, those I's mean capital. Yes, sir. What do you think? Yes. Yeah. You can go to the box beside it. Yeah.
Can I get a tissue?
Yes. Yes.
The kids that are going to virtual, don't send those home yet, they have to change that from face-to-face to virtual.
Right. That's why I gave back to Miss Buchanan. All right. Huh? Uh-uh. No, no. No, we're back in Tokyo Square.
This class gonna be in here?
I don't know, probably. Right,
I wanna go over there to the gym.
continue writing about if you were in Alabama. Gonna write. We're gonna write about if you were in the Alamo. Would you be a fighter?
I know.
Okay. to share their story, their entry. Anybody like to share their Alright, Gabby, what you got?
Okay. I would like to be sad.
Oh, you want yours to be sad, okay?
Just a little bit sad.
Okay.
Maybe we'll work on right now here. Tell me when I can start reading.
Go ahead, Gabby.
Today was a crazy day. We went to the attic. We were hiding in a corner. I could hear the cannons. I was so scared. I held on to my mama as hard as I could. My papa was out fighting sadly. After a little bit, me and my friends John and Susie went into the little room to play ball. Mama told me to come eat the corn she packed. It wasn't that good, but that's all we had. I went to go sit in a seat and cried because I was scared for my dad, but I knew he was fighting hard. After a few days go by, the war is over. We lost. Daddy said Dad hurt his. We lost the war, Dad said. Dad hurt his arm. They rested and got back up quickly, and they went back to war. And then this time we won. And till this very day, I still remember those few days. That's it.
Very good. Alright, anybody else want to share what they wrote?
But her dad was gonna die, and I didn't want to make it bad.
Would you like to share it, or are you just telling me? Alright, Charles? Alright. 304.
Today was a good day. We finally drove the Mexicans out of Texas. And today was a bad day. 10 of my allies were killed. The captain said for us to only fire the cannons occasionally, but we fired our guns the whole time. I killed many men. I do not like killing, but I am happy that we are fighting for our rights. We do not have much more ammunition, but we have enough for right now. Today we burnt down the jackals, so the Mexico army does not use them as cover. One of the Alamo's walls fell down today, so they had to build it up again. William Travis drew a line with his sword, so whoever went past it could still fight, and that was today.
Very good. What about he pulled some information from the text, talking about the line in the sand, talking about the jackals being burned down. Good job using those text evidences. Anybody else want to share? That's okay. All right. We got about 15 minutes. We're going to I'm going to give you about I have a reading passage here about the Battle of the Alamo, a reading selection. It has 6 questions with it. We're going to do a practice selection using our runs reading strategy. Remember, we read the title, underline it, make a prediction, put in your stop dots. And then we underline keywords in the question before you read anything else. Then we go into the entire passage and we read the passage, stopping at each stop dot to write down something important that we read in that chunk, that piece. And then when we're finished reading all of the stop dots and writing our important information, then we can go back in and answer the questions. Okay? This is very easy. Goes on the computer. I'm going to share it with you on Google Classroom. You'll just wait a minute while I give it to these people. Will you pass these out? Will you now? And these. That's what it is. Give me a second. Keep on the computer. No. There's your Google form. Actually, those on the computer, I'm going to let you guys do it when you come on Thursday because I want you guys to use the expectation, not the runs reading strategy. So if you guys want to log off for now, come back at 9:25 and we'll start math because we're reviewing multiplication because we're going to test on multiplication soon. Okay? All right.
If you end up hanging up the figures that we wrote, are we allowed to take them at home?
I may hang something else up. I think we're gonna be really focusing in on some more writing this 9 weeks.